This set of notes is about the growth of the mills in New England, the start of the Industrial Revolution, in particular, the Lowell Mills and the mill girls who became famous for stepping up and working in these factories and kicking off the Industrial Revolution, the market revolution in the United States. The time period we're talking about is the early 1800s. And it's important to remember around 1800, most people lived on farms. About 90% of Americans lived on farms, made what they needed at home. And by 1850, that's going to change. And more people are going to be working in factories and mass producing goods. So start off by just making the point that a lot of the economic growth went hand in hand with technological improvements. With better technology, you could do more in terms of what you're making, how you're making it, and how much of it you can make. And these new inventions made life easier for Americans. So some good examples would be the cotton gin, the steel-tipped plow, the steam engine, and here you see a picture of what an early cotton gin would have looked like. The idea of these machines was that you could now do a lot more in the same amount of time that it used to take you to do a lot less. With the cotton gin, you could process cotton and remove the seeds much faster. With the steel-tip plow, in the same amount of time you used to be able to plow 1 acre, you might be able to do 3 or 4. With the steam engine, you can get on a steamboat and go upriver, and you can reach places that would have been hard to reach before. So all of these new inventions really go hand in hand with improving the economy as well. So increasingly, Americans were not just self-sufficient farmers anymore, right? You no longer just made and grew what you needed. You could now buy and sell crops. You could make more and sell the excess. So instead of having to only get what you needed and then maybe you have some to trade, now you have a lot and you can sell those for money. You can take that money and go to the market and buy goods that you need. And this change is called the market revolution. The move away from a traditional economy where you would work in the home, make what you needed, to a market economy where you're able to produce way more, sell it, and then buy what you need. One of the biggest changes that goes right along with the market revolution is the growth of mills in New England, which would use water-powered machines to make cloth. Lots of rivers in New England, you would use the power of those rivers to turn water wheels, which could then power an entire factory. And the machines could crank out way more cloth than an individual could do in their home by hand. In the early 1800s, the town of Lowell, Massachusetts became really kind of the heart of this market revolution, the start of industrialization in America. The workers who came were mostly farm girls, right? Young women who lived on their family farms, and the mills opened up an opportunity to get off of the farm and go work in the factory, to make money, to learn a skilled trade. In order to sort of entice the women to the factories, mill owners wanted to make it attractive, right? So they provided boarding houses and meals and paid their workers. And these were all things that they wouldn't get necessarily working on the farms. So it became a very attractive opportunity for women to go to these mill towns, live in the boarding houses, work in the factories, and make money. And they could use that money to save it for themselves, to send back to their families. It became a very, very exciting opportunity for these young women. But it wasn't all sunshine and roses. A lot of times the working conditions were pretty bad. Pay was not great. For working 70 or 80 hours, the girls might receive a few dollars a week, which, granted it's 1800, so a few dollars is a decent amount. But even if you bring that up to what that would be in today's money, it's, a few $100. It's really not a lot of pay. While you're working those long hours, very hot in the summertime, very loud. There are reports of women even going deaf, losing their hearing because of the how loud the machines were. You got to remember that you're dealing with cotton and different sorts of fabrics, and these machines could be kicking up cotton dust and things like that's just hanging in the air. You're breathing that in and out 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. That can be really bad for your health. The machines themselves were very dangerous. If you were careless or had an accident, you might lose fingers, hands, arms. Sometimes workers might even be killed working in these dangerous conditions. And so in response, workers would sometimes go on strike, right, and refuse to work until their demands were met. However, this was usually not very successful because as more and more mills grow, there's an increasing number of workers that you can pull from. More women are going to want to go work in these mills. And so it became easier and easier to simply replace workers as the factories grew. So not everything's great for these mill girls in Lowell and other cities in New England, but it was an opportunity. It was a step towards opportunity for these women, a chance to earn their own wages and to get off the farms. And so these mill girls kind of led the way, helped us to become an industrial nation and to help the United States start to move away from the traditional agrarian life of the early 1800s towards a more modern industrialized life by 1850.